Hello, and welcome to The Wonders I've Seen, where there's no such thing as weird or normal. There's just different. I'm your host, Tanagra, and today we'll be discussing CW's Batwoman. Specifically, the question of whether or not those of us who didn't watch Season 1 can jump into Season 2 with the new Batwoman, Ryan Wilder, as played by Javicia Leslie. So grab your liquid nourishment, sit back, and enjoy the wonders.
I have never desired your good opinion.
People fear what they do not understand.
I have a headache, a badge, and a gun.
Power is yours.
Behave.
I was just trying to start a conversation.
And share the wonders I've seen.
My liquid nourishment for the day is PG Tips with milk and Fig Newtons. All right, let's get into it. In 2018, it was announced that the CW was creating the latest installment in their Arrowverse network of DC television shows. Later, the same year, when lusted after model, actress, gender fluid, lesbian Ruby Rose with the stars around her head was cast as Kate Kane in the new Batwoman series, the world went wild. Specifically, the queer world and Batwoman fans. See, Kate Kane is one of the few high-profile DC superheroes who is an out and proud lesbian, and the only queer superhero who has a television show, like her own show. We recognize Black Lightning as well. But Kate Kane is the lead of Batwoman. So that an actress who identifies as a woman and as a lesbian was cast to play her was something to celebrate, true representation. When Rose amicably stepped down from the role after the first season due to whatever personal reasons, some were worried that due to ignorant backlash from the first season, from, if you want to call them fans in quotation marks, CW would walk back on the representation. But they didn't. Now, whether this was due to their new, very widely publicized Dare to Defy inclusivity branding, whether it was due to showrunner Caroline Dries being a married lesbian woman herself, or whether it was because ratings for season 1 were low enough that they could afford to take a quote-unquote risk, the CW said F it to taking a step back and cast not only another sapphic member of the LGBTQIA+ community, they also cast an actress who's openly Black, y'all. Openly Black. So this was huge. And as a Black, queer, female-identifying superhero fan, just geek in general, this was huge. Showrunner Dry squashed any rumors of this being pandering or, I believe I've heard it called blackwashing a character, which by the way isn't a thing, you racist, but by announcing that Leslie would be playing an entirely new character who takes up Batwoman's cause and mantle. So this character would have her own backstory, her own story entirely, and not be a part of the Wayne legacy. Completely new. Basically what Star Wars failed to do. And so for me, this seemed like a really great time to actually start the show. So when Batwoman first premiered in 2019, I watched the first episode and it wasn't bad, but it didn't capture me. I enjoyed Kane and the family drama and her messy love life, but it was also really, really annoying because they were doing a specific storytelling method. Like, were we really going to have another CW series where the entire show was 50 to 60% flashbacks, brooding, and harsh physical training to explain our hero's backstory? Like, I know Arrow milked that storytelling combo for I don't even know how many seasons. And at a certain point, there weren't even enough years for there have to been that many flashbacks. But anyway, that's the Arrowverse. So while I like the characters, I was a bit bored with the story and the storytelling, and visually it didn't really capture me. I did plan to go back and watch it after the first episode, but I never did. Take that as you will. So when Leslie was announced as the new Batwoman, I was going to go back and watch the entirety of season 1, but realized that that didn't make any sense. If production had gone through the trouble of saying the new Batwoman was a new Batwoman, a new character, then a viewer should be able to jump in and start at the beginning of season 2, right? So I downloaded the CW app on my Roku and watched the Batwoman episodes that were available. At the time of recording this, it was only episodes 1 and 2. I know it's standard to give a new show 3 episodes before you decide whether or not it's worth your time, but take it up with the CW and their very slow upload rate. Now, season 2, episode 1 starts with a recap of the previous season. From it, we learn Kate was Batwoman. She locked a woman with shoulder-length blonde hair up in what looks like Arkham Asylum. Then the blonde took it as a betrayal and planned Kate's demise. We see that Kate is showing a black man wearing tweed, a piece of kryptonite that she got from a friend, quote unquote. Then we see Blondie out. I guess she escaped Arkham, and she's made some man who was also previously shown to be locked up with her, I guess also got out. But now this man looks like Bruce Wayne, and she made him look like Bruce Wayne in order to get back the piece of kryptonite from Kate. So as a summary, it's lacking, but you know who the hero is, who the big bad is, and why Bruce Wayne is suddenly a character on this show and it wasn't really talked about. Luckily, the rest of episode 1 adds some clarity. You just have to pay close attention. Who Blondie the big bad is, who the Bruce Wayne imposter is, who the black man wearing tweed is, are all explained. You also discover who knew and didn't know that Kate Kane was Batwoman. And this is where the episode begins to use the sudden loss of Kane as Batwoman to its benefit. It cuts to a young black woman sleeping in a van by the docks. She's dreaming of when she moved into a new apartment with her mom. They're really happy. Her mom is teasing her about her little girlfriends. And then she suddenly wakes up to the sound of a plane exploding and crashing near her van. Ultimately, this young black woman finds the Batwoman suit, leading us, the audience, and everyone in Gotham to believe that Kate Kane died in the crash. And this is where it gets really good. As a new viewer, I don't know anything about Gotham or Kate. The politics, the police, the family drama. Does Gotham like Batwoman? Where did Kate get the suit? How was this guy supposed to pass himself off as Bruce Wayne just by looking like him? Who are these crows, and why are they a militarized, privatized police force allowed to freely enforce the law in Gotham? Does racism and homophobia exist in this Bat world of the CW? And more importantly, why is this young black woman sleeping in a van by the river when she clearly had a home and a mom? So all of these revelations, the show writers don't assume the audience is stupid. They expect you to listen. They give you all these revelations and say, pay attention. To see the relationships between the characters, follow the conversations, and allow the new audience members to catch up. It's a steep learning curve, but they actually make it fairly simple. All of these aforementioned questions get explained in the first episode through various revelations to people in Kate's life who didn't know her secret, that she was Batwoman. Her ex-lover finds out from her ex-lover, yes, it's confusing, that Kate was Batwoman. Kate's dad, who heads Gotham's privatized police force, which I'm really hoping they tackle this season, finds out that Kate was Batwoman because his other daughter, the big bad Blondie, who wears Lolita fashion, tells him so she can revel in his pain, because apparently he tried to kill Batwoman several times when he didn't know who she was. And most importantly, our new Batwoman, Ryan Wilder, she finds out that billionaire Kate Kane is Batwoman, although she discovers it on her own because, well, she is Batwoman. As the people in Kate's life grieve for her and learn about her secret, so does Ryan. We see Ryan reading newspaper articles about the missing billionaire Kate Kane, praising the things that Kate had done to the city upon her return. And then we see Ryan later talking to Kate's sister and friend, and Ryan is introduced to Kate and her world and her friends, serving as the audience stand-in. Ryan puts on the suit to avenge the death of her mother. We learn in a flashback that squatters broke into their new apartment and killed her mom and thought that they had killed her. She survived, and she sees the Batsuit crashing near her parked van as fate and as a chance to avenge her mom's death. I said before that it isn't clear if the isms of our world exist in this one. Well, Ryan, when asked why she wants the Batsuit, very pointedly establishes that they do. Her Black biological mother died in childbirth due to structural racism in healthcare. Her Black mom was murdered and no one cares because she's just another dead Black woman, so nobody's looked into it. Ryan herself was framed for drug possession and had to either plead guilty or serve 18 years in prison, where if she pled guilty, she only had to serve 15 months. And now because she's an ex-con for a crime she never committed, no one will rent a place to her or hire her. And somehow, through all this, she's supposed to pay jail fines, which if you're not familiar with, this is actually a real thing that happens in our world. The system is just as broken in Gotham as it is in any American city. I personally like this touch of realism, and I didn't have a problem with it. So now I don't know if Batman was this socially aware before. I didn't watch it, but they lean hard into this now. At one point, Ryan, once again taken into custody by the quote unquote police. Are they police? The Crows? I'm not sure yet. For something she didn't do, tells them that they spend so much time focusing on her, who hasn't done anything, but they still haven't caught the big bad, who at this time we now know is Blondie, who calls herself Alice. And they haven't caught her because she's white and Ryan, who's innocent, is black. It's an unexpected moment of awareness, and the show just keeps giving them. Like sometimes they even do it in a nice, like funny way. Like when Ryan says she'll stand in for Batwoman to calm down a protesting crowd, and the black tweed guy points out that her being black might stop people from believing that she's the Batwoman they know. It's a light moment of awareness, but still a moment of awareness, and one that addresses the elephant in the room, one that mirrors the sentiments of the people of Gotham and the viewers. You cared when Batwoman was white, but what about now that she's black? For me, I do care. She's still a hero. She's still fighting for the underdog. Heck, she is the underdog herself. She's still queer. She's still a champion for the LGBTQIA plus community, and maybe even more so a symbol of current times in progress now that she's black. Like, let's not act like the queer community doesn't suffer from the same anti-blackness that the het community does. There's a point in the show where Kate's sister and Batwoman's tech genius, the black guy in tweed who is apparently Lucius Fox's son, I believe, they tell Ryan, when they're asking for her to give the suit back, that she can't wear the suit because it's a symbol. It's meant for a hero, not the quote unquote lost and found. Although Kate found the suit herself, they say the suit is what Kate stood for, what the Wayne family stands for, that it's a legacy. The first 2 episodes of season 1 tear Batwoman away from that stilted, entitled white legacy and make her someone more, something bigger. You don't have to be a Kane, you don't have to be a Wayne, you don't have to be military trained or rich or superhuman. You can be poor, you can even be an ex-con. To be a hero, you have to want to help people and be willing to get hurt in the process. And if, like Ryan Wilder, you happen to be trained in several martial arts and look amazing in rubber, it doesn't hurt. So I would definitely say jump into the new Batwoman. If you're interested in continuing this conversation, you can find me on Twitter at Tanagra, GGNOC. That's Tanagra, GGNOC. For all you Android users, you can find us on Anchor and RadioPublic. And for all you iThings users, you can listen in on iTunes and Overcast. You can also listen to us on YouTube with a lovely video with a bunch of pictures. So, leave us a message on some platform, suggest a show, suggest a movie, tell me if you think I'm wrong, tell me if you agree with me. Thanks for joining, make choices, and don't fall down.